Hey everybody, this is Mo, the Gnostic warrior, founder of the Order of the Gnostics. This live transmission today is not going well at all. I don't even know if anybody is watching right now. I see that some people are coming in live, so cool. Again, I've been getting cut out here during my morning ritual, doing my walk. Part of that ritual, of course, is getting some sun and staying active and getting out there and getting out of the house. It's important that we do that every day. So I wanted to talk about, the subject today that I feel is dear to my heart and to a lot of people out there. And it's called the Occult Forces of Sex and the Sexual Union of Souls. I had written an article several years ago on GnosticWarrior.com that's really popular. It's had, over 100,000 views and thousands of shares. I get a lot of comments and people asking me about what I was writing in that article. And what I wanted to, basically relay to the people was that sex is much more important than we think or we previously would like to have thought. It is one of the most sacred acts that we humans can partake in. And a lot of us, unfortunately, are making the mistake of having sex with just whoever comes along to satisfy our lower natures. We're not operating from our higher nature, from our soul, in these unions where we're, unioning our spiritual soul, our energy with someone else's energy. And it's very important because what people need to understand, women as well, is that when we have sex with someone, we are now taking part of their being into our beings. Okay, and some people out there might think this is spiritual, bullshit or mythical Gnosticism or something, but this is real Gnostics. This is real Gnosis. This is also being backed by science as well. I had written an article recently that talked about how the women who have had sex, with multiple partners, that they carry the very DNA of those partners within them now. Not only that, guys, on top of that, the mother can now pass that DNA to their unborn child from other sexual partners. Okay, and there's a scientific term that is known for this. It's called microchimerism. And you've heard of the chimeras, and they're the mythical beings that are half human, half animal. Something like the centaurs who were, whoa, I just ran into a tree carrying my selfie stick here. Let me get that going. And just so you guys know, the reason I don't wear my shirt is because I want to get some sun. The sun is where we get a lot of our energy. It's healing. It's great for us and our bodies. And I'm inside a lot. I'm on the computer. I'm looking at a screen, so I'm not always getting enough sun, enough light, and so forth. So anyways, back to these centaurs, half human, half animal. Those were the mythical creatures. But today, there's human chimeras. Okay, these humans are multiple different types of races. And they're coming out, and this is being backed by science, where they're actually taking the DNA out of a child and they're finding multiple sets of DNA from multiple host sources. Okay, so what that means is that these children that are being born where the mother has had multiple sexual encounters with different men, these children are now having the DNA of those other men and not just the father of that child. So essentially, technically, these children are being fathered by multiple partners, even though there's only, of course, one father that has brought forth this child. These children are actually chimeras. They're multiple races, they're multiple beings, and so forth. And I feel that this is backing up some of these old laws that we used to have on things like adultery, things that we had on sodomy, and stuff like that, sexual deviance and so forth. The laws back in the old times, like in Rome, it was punishable by death. So if you were caught cheating on your wife, or your wife was cheating on you, you were killed. If you were caught sodomizing, having, homosexual relations, you were also killed. And that's talked about in the Bible, the sodomites. We're seeing kind of a reemergence of these teachings with the science that I'm talking about, and then also the mention of all the pedophiles, the elite pedophiles they're talking about online and so forth. So again, what I'm talking about can be backed by science, and what people need to understand is that, our DNA, as far as our human DNA that we have in our bodies, we have literally the amount of our human DNA in our body is the equivalent of your big toe. So all that DNA, okay, you guys are still there, sorry about that. So all the other DNA is the DNA of other organisms that are within our body. So the human DNA is essentially, can be measured by your big toe. The rest is bacteria, fungi, and all this other DNA, which we now can include other humans if you've had other sexual relations with other people. So, I believe that this DNA is essentially our essence. It's our genetic code. This is where we get who we are today, how we do what we do, why we are what we are. It is I am. The DNA is the computer code for each one of us. And when we mess with that computer code, we mess up the computer operating systems, and we become confused. We become broken down. We get viruses and stuff like that. I feel that this is contributing to the confusion, the chaos out there. It's contributing to the depression that many people are feeling, I believe. It's just, I think, screwing us up. And where this, I feel, comes into play in modern times, we could look at the immigration movement right now. It's like forced immigration of these people from the East, whether they're in Syria or other war-torn countries, Iraq, and they're basically being forcibly assimilated, and they're immigrating based on incentives by the government and by their host countries, such as Germany, to go to these areas. And essentially what is happening is everybody's mixing their DNA. And you don't see this in many other countries except here in the West. And again, I have no problem with multiracial relationships, okay? I'm not a racist, I'm not a white supremacist or anything like that. But I do believe that DNA has a big part in who we are. And when we start mixing that with other races that maybe we've had issues with, tribes in the past, maybe that are our fiercest enemies, and then we're mixing our DNA with them, we are creating sort of like chimeras, monsters, people that are confused on who they are. So we see that with the immigration, and a lot of the people of the Islamic faith, they just refuse to assimilate into the Western culture and so forth. So I feel that this is kind of a forced thing by the powers that be in order to confuse and mix up their enemies. And this is, I know it's hard to believe for some of you, but it's really that simple. You can't, in other countries, they don't allow their wives or their sisters or their daughters to marry people outside of their race and so forth. A lot of countries are like this. China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, almost every other country out there except the Western countries. And you got to wonder why they do that. Do they do that to possibly preserve their genetic code? To preserve their gnosis? To preserve the integrity of their race? I would say yes. Based on my research, that's the truth. When I say enemies, Seb, what I mean is basically these are tribes ancient tribes that many of us have had battles with, wars. And, you know, when you fight a war with a foe and they kill your family, they kill your mother, they kill your daughter, and, you know, bash their head up against the wall or do whatever it is, they become enemies. And that perpetuates the endless cycle of war, the endless cycle of, you know, people taking out their enemies and so forth. Right now, to me personally, I don't have any enemies. I love everybody. That doesn't mean I'm, you know, a wimp or anything, but I forgive my past enemies for all the things that have happened. I forgive myself and my ancestors for things they have done to other tribes and other people. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, is that I've been involved in this religious war, this creation of the world we live today for the past 3,000 years, and I feel like I'm waking up to who I am, to who I was, to what I'm supposed to do. And part of that work you're seeing now with the Gnostic warrior. So I don't want to get too involved in the politics stuff or the enemies and wars. I just kind of wanted to talk about sex and how important it is, and that what we need to do as people out there, if we wish to be the best that we could be. Again, as I talked about yesterday, the purpose of Gnosis, the purpose of being a Gnostic, is to be a better person, to make this world a better place with the knowledge that you learn. It's not to just, you know, exchange and share memes on Facebook and knowledge and, you know, that's a great quote, yo, great, oh, awesome, oh, the Gnostics were this and that. No, it's to use this knowledge for our lives. This knowledge, if we apply it to our life via praktikosos, practice, then becomes real gnosis. It becomes a habit. It becomes part of who we are. And my path in being a Gnostic is trying to be the best person that I could be. I've got a long way to go. I've screwed up a lot on my path, and I've got a lot of damn karma to work off in this life. But, you know, part of that process is educating other people, then also keeping myself in check and trying not to violate these natural laws. So this is a natural law. You don't see penguins mating with, you know, other birds or whatever. You don't see the great white shark even mating with the blue shark. And you got to wonder why, when you see this throughout the animal kingdom and even in the insect kingdom, why is this happening? Are they just abiding by natural law? Are they just doing what their God-given genetic code has told them to do? And that is to live, to eat, and to reproduce with your species in order to carry it on? That's essentially why we're here, folks. This game, this Hyros Gamos that we're in right now, is a man-made game. It's manufactured, okay? The real laws are made by God. And as I said, my God, the God of the Order of the Gnostics, is Jupiter. Jupiter is the creator of this universe. It's the one eye, you know, that everybody else see out there. It's the God that the Masons worship. It's the God the Jews worship, Jehovah, Yahweh. It's the God of the Rastafarians, Jah. It's the God of the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, Osiris. It's the God of the Norse and the North Kingdoms, Odin with his one eye. And it is Jupiter, it is God, where we get our consciousness. This is where we get the light that enlightens us, okay? And what light I'm talking about isn't this beautiful light from the sun that I'm bathing in right now, that is healthy and that we are needed for our growth. It is the light that makes us who we are, that makes us conscious. This same light I talk about is called phosphorus, all right? And this phosphorus in Latin is called Lucifer, all right? And this same chemical energy, the most we have in our body are in two places. And guess where that is, folks? It's in our minds, and then down here in our genitals. That's where we have the most phosphorus, okay? So when they talk about people having sex and then especially in the spiritual world, of them controlling their sexual energy. What they're controlling is this phosphorus that we have, right, in our bodies. And they're controlling it, and they're not releasing it from their genitals in order for this phosphorus to go up the kundalini, up our central nervous system, folks, okay, our chakras, our glands, up to the Holy of Holies, folks, and that would be our minds, where we then can connect with our hearts, our soul, to use this energy to create a better world, to better ourselves. And it's not just wasted and spilled on the ground by ejaculation, by, you know, jacking off, and you just pouring it everywhere, because we only have so much of this energy. So anyways, that's, you know, I'd like to bring it real to you guys. You know, this isn't just about myths and so forth. This is about science, and an actual real science that each one of us can use and we could apply to our lives. So use that phosphorus, guys. Use it in the right ways. This is your sexual energy. This is your essence. This is the alpha, the omega. This is from where we get from God, the one eye, Jupiter, right? That's the red dot that you see on Jupiter. It's phosphorus, guys. And there's only a certain amount here on Earth. And they're talking about actually the phosphorus reserves running out in the next 300 years. That's how serious it is. And guess what? The Masonic States of America, of course, they are piling up on the phosphorus, because we need that stuff, folks. So this light within, this essence of us, this is who we are, okay? And when we spill it, or when we insert it into another being, that person is now taking part of our essence in the form of DNA and genetic code, and we're screwing up each other's software systems through these sexual unions that are just done to satisfy our lower natures as opposed to our souls, which are our higher selves. And again, that's the goal of the Gnostic, is to use this knowledge, of course, to better our lives, to better ourselves, and then also connect with their soul and their body to become one in the heart. And that's the Holy Trinity right there, folks. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit that they talk about in religion. So I'm going to go ahead and check out some of these questions here. I'm in the sun right now. It's kind of hard to see them. Cool. Thank you for the comments, Carly, everybody. Anybody have any questions that you guys want to talk about in regards to sex and the sexual union of souls? Feel free to ask them. Even if you ask them later after I'm done with the live transmission, I'll do my best to answer them. I also said, as I mentioned, there's an article on GnosticWarrior.com with the same title. It's the sexual union or the occult forces of sex and the sexual union of souls, and how important this is. And then there's also another article called Women Carry the DNA of All Their Sexual Partners. Again, my name's Mo, the Gnostic Warrior, founder of the Order of the Gnostics. So what do I think about twin flames? Twin flames, Carly, I believe in, I actually know 100% is true. And this comes to the same term, the twin flames would be soulmates. And my belief is that these soulmates are actually partners that we've had in previous lives that we should seek out. And these unions that we had before with these twin flames, with these soulmates, were done right. They were done through sacred marriage ceremonies that we've lost contact with, sacred ways to live that we have forgot. And these twin flames are out there, and I believe that there's multiple twin flames. They say that in the occult, that actually we could be incarnated in multiple places at the same time. And I believe that's true. And so I believe one of the purposes of life is to find your twin flame, is to find your soulmate, and to find that perfect match to begin a union, the most sacred union there is, and that's the marriage, the union of souls. And I feel that in the coming years, decades, or whatever, we're going to go back to how it used to be. I'm not a big believer in free sex and just have sex with whoever you want. I used to be like that, and I was the most unhappy person in the world. I would cheat on my lovers, on my girlfriends, and I would feel like such a dirtbag and such a scumbag because I know I was violating those rights, those ancient natural laws. My soul was miserable. My lower nature was happy for 5 minutes, right? Or however long it would take. But my soul was miserable. I was depressed. I was never happy with these multiple sexual relations. And abusing the other person's spiritual essence by taking advantage of them just so I could have sex. I never want to live like that again. I have a beautiful wife that I worship. She's my goddess. She's my twin flame. She's my soulmate. And I wouldn't change it for anything. And I have beautiful children that I have created with her through this sexual union of souls, through the occult forces of sex, through love, through the heart. Each child was made with love, and they radiate that. My children do. And I'm gonna have some Gnostic teachings coming up for children here in the future, because I feel that we're not the answer. They're the answer. All right? And if we get that right with our children, if we work on ourselves and then we actually invest more energy and more of our heart into our children, we can create that heaven on earth that we all want, that most of us want. So anyways, I'm glad that some of you would like this. I hope it explains some things for you. Just understand that marriage, sex, it's a sacred act. It shouldn't be abused. And that a lot of us are abusing it. And we're going to see a change in the coming years from that. And science is backing this up. So whatever you guys want to do out there, it's your path. Hey, you're welcome, Carly. Thank you for watching, everybody out there. Thank you for the likes and the loves. I appreciate it. I'm done with my morning ritual today, which is, walking out there and getting some sun, getting a little sun on the skin and so forth. Thank you for the likes, everybody. I really appreciate it. And yeah, the children, they're the answer. I was meditating one day when I first was awakened to the occult and to Gnosticism and etc. And I had asked the oracles, am I the one? Am I here to bring on this new apocalypse, this new era, this new age, which we're in the year 2017, in this old age? Am I the one? And I was told, no, you're not the one. They're the one. And my children were sleeping right next to me. And it was such a revelation. It didn't hurt myself. It hurt my ego a little bit for a second. But when I operate from my heart, I understand. Because I use reason, I use logic, I use love. Is that I'm just a vessel for the future children, the future generations that are going to change this world. And we need to teach them Gnosis. We need to teach them the occult forces of sex, the sexual union of souls. We need to teach them about all of these teachings when they're young in simple ways that they can understand, that they can take into their lives, that they can use as part of their lives to be better people, to be better souls in this world, to create a heaven on earth and to get us out of this hell on earth that we're on now. And we're going to do that through Gnosis and Gnosticism and through living right. And again, that's the whole idea of being a Gnostic, living in this world. We're here in this beautiful place to create even a more beautiful place. We're here to help destroy the old world. That's kind of our job, guys. We're kind of destroyers. We got to start taking out the hammer and breaking what's not good and taking what's beautiful and creating this beautiful world that's for our children and the generations to come, and one that we'll all incarnate into, and one that we could be proud to be part of. One where the sexual union of souls will be one of the most sacred acts in the world, and it will be an honor, and it will be one of the most devoted things that we do as humans. So anyways, hey, thank you everybody for listening. Paul, Carly, everybody, the likes, the loves, I appreciate you guys. I'm here to serve you guys, and that's the whole idea of the Order of the Gnostics and GnosticWarrior.com. We're here to serve people with knowledge that they could use, that they could then take into practice in their lives, practicosos. They can make a habit and it become part of their lives. So anyways, thank you guys. Thank you, Tina. Much love. Take care. Have a great day. Go research this if you want to learn further. You could learn on my blog. You could research other articles, but it's really true. Share this with other people out there. That'd be awesome. They could learn about this, and then I could put links. I'll put that in the description when I'm done with this video. That way you guys can link to it. You can read the science as well. Again, take care. Mo the Gnostic Warrior, GnosticWarrior.com, founder of the Order of the Gnostics. Take care.